Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. How you doing today? Just wanted to touch bases today. Um, First of all, for those who are on and watching, just subscribe, like, and share the video. Just wanted to touch bases on the breaking news with Shannon Sharp today. So unfortunate what happened to the gentleman. Um, you had to know that it was coming. I mean, it's just open season for certain lawyers and certain women from certain individuals' passes. They're just opening themselves up to um, lawsuits. You got to be more conscious, more careful. You know, when you make it to the level where Shannon Sharp made it to, you're going to have a lot of people that's very envious of him. In no way am I condoning or uplifting or agreeing with anything that's illegal or anything that he was accused of. However, he is innocent to proven guilty, and we've seen this um, play out many different times, many different years with many different people. Um, the story doesn't change, just the people in it does. And we just seen recently that an accusation was brought against Jay Z, and Jay Z um, didn't settle a lawsuit. He didn't bow down like most people do, even in the Michael Jackson situation, where he was accused of sexually assaulting a essay, excuse me, on a child, 25, 30 years ago. And it wasn't until he was deceased that the gentleman that he was accused of came forward and said that never happened. He was pressured to lie from the lawyers and the parents just to get some money because of who he was. So that never even happened. People more often did not make up stories when they run across, wealthy people or people with a significant amount of money who can take them out of the situation financially that they're in. I just feel bad for Shannon Sharp. Um, it just doesn't sit right with me because you never know with people behind closed doors. But one thing for certain, and two things for sure, is when a person is engaging in doing certain things, such as they got a behavior or a reputation for essaying people, um, it wouldn't just be one person out of the blue. It would be rumors. It would be multiple people coming forward, and we never even heard nothing like this ever. As much as he's been on it, on podcasting and beefing with people and having words with other celebrities or other hosts, that never came up. So it couldn't have existed then. You got this one person out of the blue just saying he's a monster. Kind of find that hard to believe. And then what seals it for me is the fact that if you are if you had been essayed by an individual, no matter who it is, the first step in the order, the first step utilizing law and order should be to press charges on him. But for whatever strange reason, you hopped over your personal health and went straight to money. So it's obvious that money is the motive. It's just so unfortunate how people destroy people's lives for a few dollars, And then even when people didn't do it, they settle out because it's just easier to settle out and not disrupt or destroy their reputation that they built their whole life. And a lot of times when people do that, you got companies that's endorsing you or paying you or you contracted with, they'll pull out of the contract. A lot of them have those clauses in their contract. So if that happened, that they're able to pull out, and the good thing for Jay Z is that the NFL stood behind him when the allegations came out. They didn't pull out, no endorsements, nobody left Rock Nation. So he was able to stand up to the coward, the cowards, the lying, the people accusing him of false accusation. He stood up to it and he was victorious about it. So I commend, the whole Rock Nation family, namely Jay Z, for because ultimately it's up to Jay Z. No matter what a lawyer say, Jay's from, he's from the hood. Like he know what it is to fight. He know what it is, to be extorted. He's seen it. He witnessed it. He been a part of it. Not saying he broke a law, but when you growing up in inner cities, such as housing projects, we grew up around everything: killers, robbers, murderers, rapists. It's just hard to be around 30, 40,000 people every day and nobody does that. Like, yeah, that's somebody in every city, town, or state, when you're from a big housing projects, because I'm from one. And I bear witness that, I had friends I went to school with and grew up that was later convicted of all kinds of crimes. So you around that, you learn and understand the behaviors of people that you're growing up and going to school with. It has nothing to do with you. It's just, it's just impossible. You growing up on a street or a block, it's different than growing up in a complex, a community complex of apartments that goes 10 blocks around, and you dealing with all these personalities, man. It's literally, and I might be exaggerating this. I mean, I may be, I may be gentle with the number, but it can be anywhere from 75 to 200,000 people, at any given time because they're families. There's not just individuals. You got 3 bedroom apartments, 4 bedroom apartments, 2 bedroom apartments, and growing up, if it's supposed to be 2 or 3 people in there, it's probably going to be 6 or 8. So you can imagine the 4 bedroom apartment, they probably double. They got 2 bedrooms in there. That if it's a 4 bedroom, that makes it 8 people in the house. So that number easily double. If the housing complex maybe hold 30,000 people, it's going to double to 60. But, like myself, I grew up in 2 apartment complexes combined. They had 2 different names, but we called them one name, and it was a lot, man. I'm talking about high school, elementary. I remember going to school with, 600 people like that I know. Like we had like 80, 90% of the school because it was walking distance. It was maybe 10 minutes walking distance from where we resided at. So when you growing up in that kind of development, it's easy to foresee, the BS. You've seen the behaviors before. Um, Sadly to say, when you force with this, it's no right way to handle it because most of the time, more often than not, you being extorted. It's about money. That's why it went straight to a $50 million lawsuit, opposed to having him arrested for the essay in which she stated that he did to her. But if you saying it happened more than once or twice, it should have never happened after the first time. What happened to getting authorities involved after the first time you said it happened? That just you wasn't in a relationship long enough for you to suffer from Stockholm syndrome. Nobody held you captive. You was able to come and leave as you desired to, but it probably was the fame and the money he had, and you wanted to be around him, and more no often than not. And I'm saying this from my experience. Sometimes, you in a situation financially on top of the world or doing great things, and you cut certain people off. It don't sit right with certain people. How dare you cut me off? How dare she live a life that I supposed to live? If you move on or you with somebody else or you seeing somebody else trouble. I have, people will call the cops for anything, get you in trouble for anything because they don't like the choice you made in relieving yourself from them. So it's just so unfortunate, man. I hate to see, anybody go through something like this. It can destroy you, man. It's a bad accusation. If it's true, then it's true. Then, then the individual should get what they supposed to. Because I don't promote no SA. That's some BS. But me using common sense and coming up, you know, being around materialistic things most of my life, you don't have to do that. A person like Shannon Sharp, you see even see it on the show when he had women on there, they throwing themselves at him. Why would he go out and do that to somebody and he don't have to? It's people that's willing to let him do that for nothing. So why would he go out his way to do that to somebody? I think he just deal with the people that he deal with for privacy, but I don't I don't see that, man. I don't it's one or two things. Either you would have heard of it before, uh, there would have been something resembling him doing essays. It would have been women coming out the woodworks. Uh, and most of the time, people do it because they need to do it or they desire to do it, right? And even if you desire to do something like that, it's people who's willing to do that. It's people that's into it. So I don't see, Shannon going out of his way to do that. Now, the the recording that was accidentally recorded, I don't see how anything will come out of that because if you both engage in sexual activities, consensual sexual activities, and one of your phone accidentally record, I don't understand because nobody's seen anybody's face. We just heard noises, so there was no defamation of character in the video because you couldn't see anything. And one can argue that could have been anybody's voice. So I don't see how that's going to have any relevance over the lawsuit. But I would hope if Shannon is innocent, I would hope that the judicial system see to it that or not see to it because they don't care either way if he's convicted or not. But I would hope that everything works out for him if he's innocent. But I'm sure he can afford it, but it's going to cost unnecessary um, representation from lawyers and motions and this and that. It's just it's sad, man. It's just sickening how greedy people are, man. They see your riches and your success and your accomplishments, and automatically entitlement comes to mind. People feel like they're entitled to what you worked hard to get. That just irritates me, man. People will make up lies, they'll lie on you, they'll do whatever they can to get $1, man. How is it that this man worked all his life to get to where he at right now, and you feel like you can come along just because you gave him, a little bit consensual sex, and you feel like you entitled to $50 million? That's a lot of money. I haven't ran across no vagina that's worth a third of that. So I don't understand how. And I know the game, your lawyer is shooting for a high, something high, so he can settle somewhere half or in between, or even a third of that will set you straight. Because I'm sure you don't have any money or you're not financially stable to the point where he's at. So it's just bad, man. It's all bad. And I hate to say it won't be the last. If if when I make it to a place of you know financial satisfaction, where I'm raking in the dough and I'm looking um and I'm investing and I'm making generational wealth happen. I will do all non-disclosures. If I do deal with anybody, it will be under contract. There's no way I'm gonna jeopardize myself to be sued by somebody because all it takes is you to somebody to know you're dealing with an individual and they say, oh that's King. Oh, he rich. He got this, that, and the third. That's it. Girl, if I was you, I say he did something to me to get some money. He gonna pay you off anyway. People do that all day. It's a hustle. Just like people, to get right in front of you in certain states and pump and push their brakes hard so you can run in the back of them because you automatically wrong if you run in the back of a person. But that's a hustle. It's people that has all kind of hustles. It's people that go out with celebrities, drug dealers, basketball players to set them up. You know, that song that Biggie made, he was making it about that's what happened. Girls do that. They got girls, that's they hustle, Certain, people that become unalive, a lot of times, more often than not, it has a lot to do with females. The only reason why some of them are getting caught now is because they got cameras. You know, they got cameras. Just like the boy, I think, what was it, Julio Fulio? One of them boys got killed in Texas. They had the girl to set him up. I don't know if it was actually his case, but they got her all on camera. She going down with him because they caught her. She texting while she with him. He coming out of party. Yeah, it's a lot of that happening. So you always got somebody in somebody's ear, and I wouldn't be surprised if the lawyer reached out to the young lady once he found out who was on that ending call. The the call that Shannon Sharp had while he was uh, engaging in sexual activities, consensual sexual activities. Once that lawyer got wind of who was on the other end with him, I'm sure he reached out. I'm almost certain. I'm almost certain he reached out because he knew he can manipulate and get some money out of this man, um, even though it was consensual and it was all out of fun. Maybe since then, a few months back, that was last year sometime, maybe they stopped dealing with each other and he don't, he moved on. When you single and you got options, that's what you do. You got options. You move on and you do other things. But I don't understand why men in America always seem to get caught up in this trap. It's 163 countries in the world. America is only one. You got people in different countries, man, different continents that will love you, that will be loyal to you, that will never do what's going on. And that's some of the reasons why a lot of black men successful, like Shannon Sharp and other men, are so apprehensive in dealing with their kind, because I'm sure it's his own kind. It always is. Look at R. Kelly, right? Look at what Jay-Z just went through. It's always your own people that do it to you. But you take somebody like Bill Clinton, when he received fellatio in the White House, what did Hillary do? Not a thing. She stuck by him because she understand the benefits of generational wealth. She would never break that up over accusation or something so minute as him having, sexual relations with another woman, because she understands it's in his nature. Who does that? That's just us. Our people do that. And then our sisters get mad when brothers be like, I ain't messing with you, because this is beyond gold digging. This is a whole nother level. Like, people are trying to come up by any means. And you know what I'm saying is true. It's not every black woman, it's not every woman in general. But if you look at the situation and the history of, our people, our successful men, basketball player, football player, basketball player, whatever, rappers, actresses, actors, you see it's the same thing. It's always one of our own taking us to court for child support, bleeding us. Who does that? If the shoe was on the other foot and I was, my ex-wife, had a whole lot of money and I wasn't as good as she was financially, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to court to try to get alimony for her. I ain't doing that sucker shit to me. Like, I'm not doing that. I'm getting my own money, because you putting your family at a disadvantage. I don't care what she did. She could be a pain in the ass. I'm gonna get my own. I just want to be left alone. I know how to do that. I know how to get my own. So I just don't respect that. It's sort of um, contributing to um, the accusations and the agenda of society, where men and black men and women are reversing roles, where the woman is more like the man and the man is more like the woman. You're kind of playing into that. Who does that? It's so sad, man. It's bad, man. But I don't want to take up that much of your time. I just wanted to come on here and just elaborate, and get my input on what I thought about the Shannon Sharp situation. I'm sure more will be coming out. I'm sure, it's just started. I think the lawsuit was just filed today or something like that, or we just got wind of it today. But I'm sure um, more will come out. I'm sure as Shannon Sharp lawyer advised him not to speak on it because anything you say can and will be held against you. So it wouldn't be wise to say anything about anything, even if it's nothing to say. I wouldn't address anything if I was him, knowing how the law works, because he can take anything you say and misconstrue it, and that's just it. You can convict your own self by something you said that didn't really happen. Just elaborating on it. Don't do it. But I'm sure it's going to be more to come. My prayers go out, man, to whomever's the victim in this situation, and I hope everything works out. You know, for victorious for whoever is innocent and when falsely accused because somebody's lying. Somebody did it or somebody didn't do it. We don't know. We just have somebody accusing Mr. Sharp, and then we have him being the, person who's being accused of doing the crime. So we right now don't know who did what or how it happened. That's not why I'm on here. I'm just on here to elaborate and just speak my truth about some experiences I've experienced and how certain situations and instances can go left real quick. It's just you always got a target on your head when you people know you got a bag. It's different when you in the street or in the hood because there's rules, and in the street this type of behavior unfortunately can cost you your life. So people think twice about, trying to extort or come to you when it's a street situation. But when you in a public eye and you're a public figure, it's different, man, because no you under a spotlight. So it ain't much that can be done or happen or and not that I'm insinuating for anything to happen to whomever is accusing you. I'm just saying people think different when you're dealing with a person on the street level. Mr. Sharp is a former NFL player. He appeared to be able to handle himself, but again, the streets is a different lane. It's just different, man. There's different rules to it, and if you violate certain rules, it can cost you or somebody you love or somebody close to you. It can cost them. You know, to be unalive. So it's sad, man. It's just I hate speaking on stuff like this because stuff like this shouldn't happen. We should be speaking on some other stuff. So as much as we dig out of the hole, we digging backwards because it's not nobody else. Bad enough is other people trying to put you in the situation, or back to the place that you work so hard to get out of. But when it's your own people who struggle like you did, it's sad, man. It's bad. And even if it's not, you know, anybody uh, that look like you. It's just that's just the thing about being successful. You always got people that have other agendas for your money more than you do. So you guys got to keep that in mind and be mindful. There's other countries out there, man. Go somewhere else. You don't have to, engage and deal with people and put yourself in harm's way. Just consider some other things, man. So you won't. I'm sure that Mr. Sharp will come out victorious in this if he's innocent. I'm sure because you got enough money to buy the best lawyers possible. But and I believe at this point that lawyer, Mr. Busby, they got his number already. Jay Z exposed him, so they're gonna take the same page out of the same book. So don't be surprised if Shannon win this and place another lawsuit on his head, and he won't be able to practice. Because I doubt if this is in New York because I believe that they took his license in New York, I believe, or one of them cities. Uh, after Jay Z got finished with him, but yeah, man, just let me know your comments below. Let me know what you think about this situation, and whether or not you think he's innocent or guilty. Whether you think the female in this lawsuit is lying. You think it's about her money. Whatever you want to know. Anything you say, that's your opinion. That's how you feel. Feelings ain't right or wrong. Actions are. So, however you feel, you're entitled to feel that way. I'm not telling you to feel any kind of way. I'm just expressing, my uh, feelings towards this situation, how I feel, put myself in Mr. Sharp's shoes, put myself in a situation where you getting a lot of money and what comes along with that. Most people already know that's getting money or had money or they already know. That's why it's safe to, more often than not, these gentlemen had been with wives when they ain't had nothing. It's safe. You know what I mean? Because you get with somebody you don't know, you just don't know their intentions, man. People are strange. You could be with a person 10 years and just don't know that they're a piece of shit. You learn it out when they do something to you. It's always been there. You just been overlooking it. So it's just hard to invest in somebody new and not think that they want you for your money if you didn't have none when you met them. You know, but but if they know you for a long time when you were broke and y'all had a relationship, or when you didn't have no money or success and y'all had a friendship, and it's different. But a lot of people gravitate to you, because of what you can give them. Or a lot of times, more often than not, people just want to be around power. They want to be recognized. They just want that selfie of people to say, "Hey, you with such and such." It come with perks, because it makes people feel like they missing out on something, and really they not. It's just a picture. Picture says 1,000 words, so you can make a lot of things up on your mind what you think the picture mean. You could think, "Oh, he's sleeping with her," and she could have just said, "Hey, can I take a picture with you?" So, it's a million different hustles though. But at the end of the day, you know, I'm sure I'll be elaborating on this again. But until I do, make sure you guys like, subscribe, and follow me. I appreciate those um who's been following me, who started following me. I appreciate it. I'll get on here more. It's just that I've been, a little busy doing other things, but I'll get on here more and elaborate more on what's going on with um, current events. Mainly music and hip hop. That's my thing about getting live entertainment studios. Everything is under production, which is getting live production, but that's mainly um, what this channel is about. The elements of hip hop, because that all things surrounding hip hop, through the media, fashion, music, it sort of comes right back to hip hop, you know, endorsements of sneakers and clothes and all. Look who's wearing it. Look who's the models. Look who's getting endorsements for sneakers, and look who's getting all the in contracts with different companies. It's not just superstars. It's not sports figures. It's a lot of these rappers or entertainers that turned into actors or actresses. They getting the bag. You know, for real. You look at it. The Cardi B. She got the Reebok contract. Since when Run DMC started that? This has been happening. It's just a broader world. They didn't expect it to go almost 51 years later, but it's still the same thing. They set the pace. So, that's why I base my channel on the elements of hip hop and everything surrounding it. Fashion, you know, uh, DJing, MCing, um, dancing, uh, which we say breaking, but it just turned into another sort of dance. But it's all hip hop. It's all hip hop. But yeah, leave me a comment below. Tell me what you think about, the Shannon Sharp situation and the new allegations he was accused of. And until I see you guys later, until I see you guys again, stay blessed up, love and peace, and I hope all is well.
This is another Live